wood here is actually what was previously the exterior of the building, and then everything beyond that is the addition of the building. And so before, we just had a library and then like a surface level parking lot, and the city pool was across the street. And so it was like, 50 parking spaces for tons of people coming every day in the summer to the library and to the pool. And so this project also included the parking garage, which you guys may have parked in as well. So there's 4 levels to the parking garage, and then it included this library lawn out here. Which a couple of things we do out there are every single day in the summer. Kids, actually, if you guys want to, anyone from 0 to 18, you get a free lunch every day from noon to 1. And then we also do a big downtown movie outside where we have a huge blow-up screen, and we put it down at the bottom, and then people can sit on these tiers. And then local restaurants set up different booths, and you can buy food and then watch a movie. And so we'll actually have one of those movies on Thursday night. So like Back to the Future, that's what we're playing on Thursday. But another cool thing with this building is it will be LEED certified. And LEED means Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, which you guys are interested in that, is that correct?
Yeah, we're studying sustainability.
Okay, yeah, so basically what that means is there were a lot of decisions made in this construction project to make it a very green, sustainable building. And some of those things you can physically see, and some of them you're not going to be able to see. So for example, one of the things they did was they recycled about 50% of everything that they took out, all the waste, they recycled as much of that as they could. But one of the things you can see in the building really easily is there's a lot of natural light. And so what that is called light harvesting. And basically, instead of using light generated from electricity, they use as much natural light as possible. And then the lights in this area actually fluctuate based on the amount of natural light that comes in this area. And so during the day, right now, these lights are a little bit dimmer, but then as the sun starts to set and there's less natural light coming in, they get brighter to accommodate for that. And then we'll also see about 75% of this building has access to natural light, which is difficult when you have a basement and when you have some kind of trapped staff areas. So the way that those areas get natural light is downstairs there's a huge open staircase and kind of skylights around there that let natural light in all the way down to the bottom floor. And then in the back staff areas, you'll see as we go through, they have these things called solar tubes, which are just really large cylinders that go all the way up through the ceiling. And they have a plate on the bottom that refracts the light. So kind of like a skylight, but what's really cool is you can actually flip a switch and it just like slightly turns that plate, and it can change the amount of light that comes in there just based on how the light refracts through that. So, does anybody have any questions so far? All right, are you guys ready to get up and move? All right, we're going to walk down this way. One of the defining things of the old building was on the outside, it had these like really large concrete columns that were pretty ugly. But that was the exterior, and now we call them fins, those large concrete, they're like very wide. And now these are used in design. And so one of the ways you can see that is along these built-in bookshelves here. Everywhere you see that big divider in between the sections, behind that wood is one of those really large fins. And then you may have also noticed kind of that area that I said you could turn and go into the main area of the library. There were 2 large fins there. And what's kind of neat about that is those used to be the where the old entrance into the library was. And now it's still kind of an entrance, but it's an entrance into just the main area of the library. So the way that our library works, not all libraries are like this, but in our fiction area, our adult fiction area, we've separated out some genres so that it's easier to find books that you might be interested in. So we've separated out like romance or urban fantasy or western or mystery, if that's what you're looking for. And then we still have some of our authors that are just sorted by their last names. But we think it's a little bit easier for people to find a book that you like and then be able to read other books similar to that based on what genre that you like to read. And then again, more natural light is in these corners. These are some of my favorite areas to just come and sit and read or relax. Or my husband comes here and does a lot of work on his laptop. So it's a great space to come, and most libraries have free Wi-Fi too, which is awesome. So this is another one of our kind of reading corners. But over here you'll see kind of these glassed-in rooms. These are study rooms. And the nice thing is that people can reserve these for like 2 hours. Like if you need to write a paper or if you need to have a meeting with somebody one-on-one, you can actually reserve these rooms for free. So that's really one of the biggest benefits of libraries, whether it's this one or another library, is almost everything that you can do. In fact, I don't think there's anything you get to pay for at our library. Including a recording studio, which we'll go to downstairs. So there's a lot of resources that libraries can offer, whether it's just space, or books, or Wi-Fi, or we have video games. There's tons of things that you can check out. So these are great spaces for individuals or for groups of people to hang out in. But one thing I was going to point out is a lot of the materials used in this building are raw natural materials, like the wood that's here, or even just the concrete. There's not a lot of excess added, and so it's great for making a sustainable building, but a lot of them are really hard surfaces. So even in this area, we do have this carpet, but it's a still flat surface. We have wood, we have glass, we have concrete, and so the difficult thing with that is those hard surfaces make sound kind of reverberate a little bit, so it can be a little bit noisier. So we've had to add some elements to make this building a little more functional. So you'll notice in these study rooms, they were pretty echoey, but what we added was kind of a sound acoustic panel in there. Basically, it's just like a piece of foam that's wrapped in fabric, and it can just absorb a lot of the sound. So that helps a little bit. Okay, set this up. So if you look up, these are the solar tubes that I was telling you about. So you can kind of see the bubble plate sort of thing that's under there. So again, that's the plate that if you pull the switch, it just rotates it slightly and it can let in either more or less light in the area. Cool. Do you guys have any questions so far? Okay. We will head towards the tea area. basically all of our books, magazines, audiobooks, all of that sort of thing. And this is open all day, every single day. And then we have our teen zone, which is only open whenever school is out. So in the summer or after school or on weekends. And as we go in here, you'll see that there's tons of, this is more of like a social hangout space. So we have computers you can play on or do homework on. We have a craft table. We have, I think, 3 or 4 TVs with every kind of game console you can think of. There's Xbox One, PS4, all of those things. So kids can come in and play video games, or you can read magazines, you can hang out with your friends. It's just kind of a safe, fun spot for people to hang out after school. So we can head in there and you can check it out.
Yes, honey.
And the cool thing about this is this street out here is Vermont Street. It's probably, this room is actually like the most visible whenever you're walking by. And so there's this huge bank of windows, and then kids can walk by and say, like, what is going on in there? So we've had a lot of teenagers that have never been in a library before or used the library before, and they see this, and then they come in, hang out with their friends, but then they also meet and check out a book, which is pretty sweet. Do you guys have any questions about this space? Are you familiar with any of your libraries? Do they have a teen room like this? Maybe? Yeah. Well, we are very fortunate. Since we opened this building, this was a big part of the project, was we wanted to make a cool space for teens. Okay, let's go check out the children's area.
Who said that?
I wish our library.
I rode my bike.
Well, she was trying to get
This is our children's room. And the children's area is really similar to the teen area, how it's kind of split into 2 different places. So again, this is where all the books are for the most part, and then we'll go back into kind of a play area in a little bit. And then they actually have a 3rd space, which is this reader's theater, and this is where they do a lot of their kind of daily activities. So like right now, they are doing books and babies. So obviously moms are with their babies and they are reading books together and kind of playing together, that sort of thing. So we do kind of daily story times that kids and their families can come to. And then just to point out another green feature of the building, kind of what I was talking about earlier, is a natural light. This is another space over the staircase. This is called a clear story. And basically what that means is you take the roof in one section and kind of cut it out and you raise it up. And then that space in between the elevated roof and the regular roof line, you put windows in. And so they put them in here. And then we have this large art piece. This is a project called Percent for Art. And basically it means that in public construction projects, like a public library, they can set aside 1% of the construction budget for a public art piece. And so people sent in proposals for what they would do with that money, what type of art they would produce, and then they selected this guy who created this artwork sculpture over this space. Any questions about that? Yeah. What were you going to say? Yeah, okay, so behind you, these kind of wooden things, these are our reading cubbies. And kids can crawl up there by themselves or with their parent and they can read or play with the animals. They've got some stuffed animals around here. And each one of them has a light inside of there so that even when it's dark, you can see what you're reading. And then this kind of leads us into the play area back here. bottles have been saved just by filling up water bottles that you already have. So back here we got computers for the kids, players, tables, and training tables, seats that they can kind of turn on the computer. So this is just kind of a fun space for kids to hang out. And then the only books that we have back here are our picture books, and that's because those are read by our littlest patrons, and those are the ones who are usually back here. And then we have 2 fish tanks in our children's area. This one has stayed with us for quite a while, but there's only one fish who has stayed with us through the move. His name's Howie, and he's the orange fish who lives in that fish tank there. He's a trooper.
Moved too.
That's how they moved. Yeah, exactly. Not big, it's not as big as right. Gotta go.
Very good.
Oops, she left. Come on, come on.
That's anybody's bigger than you.
So another thing to point out while we're back here is you might see these posters that say every hero has a story, and that's our summer reading program. And I almost guarantee you that every single library in Kansas City has a summer reading program. And basically the way that it works here at least is teens can read 12 books in summer or for 30 hours. And you just fill out a reading log saying what books that you read, and then when you turn it in, you get a bunch of prizes just for reading. And so some of our prizes are like you get free food downtown, you get a free paintball session, you get a bag, like a drawstring bag. Our little kids, since it's a superhero theme, they get a cape. You know, so you get tons of prizes just for reading. It's really simple to do. And then our teens also, when you complete it, you also get entered into a grand prize drawing. So they get like a $100 gift certificate to different places around town. So it's a pretty cool incentive just for reading. Okay? Yeah, that's great.
It's like you guys get incentive for attending this program. Stipend. We need to put in some work.
Hey, they're working hard today. They're walking around in the hot sun.
That's a unique little thing there.
Well, the first one you wasn't there.
Yeah,
With the
when she
testing.
was there.
With testing?
He drove them from the gardens. I followed on my bike. I can't go as fast as a man.
Oh.
And then I met them right there. Oh, the first group?
Yeah. You didn't go,
Because
right?
I had to meet Dr. Cynthia to work out some other part of it.
Oh, I see.
We were working on the reading.
So in this downstairs area, we have a couple of things. This is where a lot of our technology is. This is our computer lab, which you can get on computers for free, as long as you have a library card. And then you can also use these meeting rooms. They kind of fit between 15 and 25 people. But anybody can also reserve those for free. So if you have like a school project that you need to work on with a bunch of people, you can do that. Or we have a lot of businesses that reserve those spaces for their meetings, that sort of thing. And then we also have our local history room where you can find maps of the region, or there's even high school yearbooks from the high schools here, or local documents from courthouses who got married, you know, over the past 100 years, that sort of thing. And then one of the biggest things that we have in here is our sound revision studio, which let me check and see if it's being used. I know I need to speak in there, but it's kind of two different things that are being used.
They're about to start one, right?
Okay, no problem. That's totally fine. Can we look at the suites or those?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's look at those in a second. I'll talk first before we go in there.
And you may actually be able to put your head in there.
Okay, we'll see.
Daryl said it was okay.
Well, if Daryl said it's okay, then he's still want to sing it, so
I'm
go on
Daryl's
in there.
girlfriend.
Oh, is he the one that's in there right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then let's just go in there really
You're
quick.
welcome to come and take a look at the studio. I guess maybe we should just get a
Oh, my boyfriend.
something. There's so many trouble in the studio, but it's popular.
My boyfriend's a musician.
He's in there?
He has a
The
regular.
one that you saw?
Yeah, he has a regular one.
So basically,
The one
you
that
can
you
use
saw?
these computers to do any sort of graphic design or videography or audio editing. And so this one has an iMac, that one has a Mac Pro, and then this one has a PC. Are we interrupting you?
No, actually, I
He was
know one of your
expecting-
instructors.
Oh, perfect, perfect, that's what we heard. Is it okay if we sneak in?
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Close the door.
So then if you guys want to go in here, this is actually a professional recording studio that anybody with a library card can use.
I'm Beth Myers, I'm the audio engineer right now, and this is Daryl Lay, he is the talent. And
The entertainment.
what this is a board that basically only makes the monitor. Because what's happening is happening in the software. And the software is where you want everything to be happening, because that's what it's called, when somebody says we can fix it in post, that means that we can fix it in post-production. If you have a glitch or something that you don't like, or you want to add a sound like echo or reverb or a little bit of distortion or other effects, that can happen in post-production. Of course, if you're performing live, you want to have that all set up live. But thanks to the digital world, it doesn't have to be in the studio. You can get your track down and get it down as deeply and as purely as you can, and then add all the effects later. In there is the performance studio itself. It is also backed up by another performance studio, so if you have a big orchestra, if you are doing things that require horns, for example, I personally, as an engineer, like to track every instrument and vocal track separately. Because as soon as you get two people singing together, one of them will want reverb, the other one won't, or, you know, there'll always be something a little weird that happens. You can separate those things if they aren't recorded on the same track. But a lot of times you have other instruments that will literally bleed in to other instrument tracking. So if you have like a horn section, you might want them in the back room, and your guitars and stuff in this front room. We have fully operational drums. We're using a Fender Squier guitar. We also have a Gibson Epiphone guitar. We also have a Fender bass. We have the amplifiers, and the amplifiers themselves are programmable now. So you can get, so if you want to go into a direct box of the amplifier, that's fine, and then change the amplifier. If you want to mic the amplifier, if you want to do both, we can, and come up with that mix of that direct sound and the amplified sound that's coming out of the speaker. You can construct your sound any way you want. So when they say they want you to use this, they mean that. And another thing, don't be afraid to try something new. You know, you never know the
something new.
Huh?
Speaking of trying something new, why don't I go sing and then
Yeah,
you can,
you go sing.
because these guys have a lot of other stuff to see too.
That's true.
We do have stuff to do.
But
This is
yeah.
Daryl, everybody.
This is
I,
Daryl.
Hi.
Right
Yes,
That's
Beth.
Beth. Yeah, so
And
thank
if
you
any
for
of you know or have seen South Pacific, I'm running sound for them right now too at Theodore Lawrence. Please
a
feel
lot of
free.
these are students from the Kansas City area.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so they're
Well,
just
come
kind
on
of
over.
touring some different facilities in Lawrence while they're at KU for a little while.
They're studying sustainability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any sustainable features of this equipment that you know of? I'll put you on
That
the spot.
they use a heck of a lot less power than
Really?
the old needs.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
This board, 20 years ago, would have been that size, the size of that table, and would have weighed slightly more than a small car, and it would have cost about between $300,000 and $500,000. Wow. So yeah, it's a lot more sustainable. The miniaturization of electronics has helped with that a lot. Because when you had actual parts that you had to solder on, you know, things were just bigger. Now everything's miniaturized. It's a motherboard or a board. If a board goes out, you change the board. It's kind of organically grown. There are parts, I mean, there are still...
Is Mike live in the speakers out there?
Yes, yes.
Oh, good.
So does it put out less
Pardon the
heat?
interruption, can I sing?
Yeah.
Yes, you can
I
sing.
want to sing.
All right.
All right, stand by.
Right.
I have, I'll explain this when we started. The other tracks have been pre-recorded. He will sing with them. He's on channel 2. This is just controlling monitors. The real things happening in there.
Well, I've been walking the streets of this city for so damn long. And every time I try to leave here, it always goes wrong. But one of these days, you're gonna look out for me, baby, I'll be gone. And I'll get out of these blues alive someday. People, you hear them talking all of the time. Some of them tell you the truth, some of them are just lying. They tell you what they want you to hear, make you walk their line. But I'll get out of these blues alive someday. And they still play the same sad songs on the radio stations. Still drive the same old cars up and down the strip. Young boys getting way too wild. Young girls breaking their own hearts.